Okay, welcome to Peg Loom Weaving with a rag rug. So all a peg loom is a series of pegs that you've threaded with some wool. Use a little crochet hook to pull them through. It's a dowel rod and you can drill a hole through there. So you're looking at the cost of all of that in dowel rods and a quite heavy piece of wood that you've got that you're going to drill holes at regular intervals. And then all you'll need is some material that you're no longer using. So I've got some bedding that really wasn't in good enough condition to go to the charity shop without me being ashamed. So I bought some dye and a couple of nights ago popped it in the machine. This one contains salt, so it's not like in the old days where you'd accidentally tie-dye when you didn't want to. Actually, it's quite good quality. So you just put it in on 40 degrees, normal cycle, and then you just put it on again for 40 degrees. So I'd recommend that one. And then all you do is you use your safety scissors, so kids can join in with this, but this is a nice one to do after a stressful day at work, and you cut lots of different slits here. I think you'd do yourself a disservice if you wanted to like measure it or anything weird like that. Just cut them, don't be too worried. You start the cut, and then this is the fun bit, and then that's the best sound, I think. So once you've done a couple of those, you can start to connect them together. And this is where we're going to use the technical bit. You take your thread that you've got and you're going to create a reef knot. So a reef knot is your left hand and your right hand, left over right and under, and then right over left and under. And then you pull them so that they go like that, so that they lay flush with each other. Okay? And then literally, this bit is a bit patronising if I go into too much detail. You just every other peg move along. Okay, and it's up to you whether you want to tuck. So by nature it's called a rag rug. I wouldn't get carried away with how neat it's going to be. You can always adjust the tension as well. But in places I've tucked them so you can just get an idea of what it looks like. But I kind of like the little scraggly bits. It is machine washable as well, so it will change shape over time. So I just keep it true to what it is. Get to the end and then you just keep going. Okay, so I'm going to finish this one off by folding it around a few times and just sort of doing a half reef, which is left over right and under, as I go, so that it gets the general idea of being connected. Okay, and I can connect that along quite easily because there's a little bit of space between them. Okay, so if I was going to keep that going, I'd do the exact same thing. I'd wiggle these free, nice and gently. Be aware that once you get a nice amount of length on it, it actually gets quite taut. So you don't want to put too much strain on the wool when you're pulling it through. Now, you'll be able to see as well that I've actually knotted the ends. So that's not in a particularly neat way. I've kept it so that if I wanted to, I could make tassels, which I think are quite cute sometimes. And I've got one here that I did with raw fleece, and that was actually a wall hanging. So we used to have like a stone wall in the cottage we used to live in, and that looked quite good. But I wouldn't recommend raw fleece, it's quite a lot of work, and you get quite greasy, and you've got to do it in the garden and keep going for it. So this is a much easier medium to work with, and I definitely recommend that. So you can just be quite casual with this. As I say, you don't need to worry too much about the tension at this stage. It's going to get a lot nicer. So what I'll do here, you gather them in pairs. So that's one peg and that's the peg next to it. And then I'm going to go for roughly the same sort of location as the others. As I say, at some point we're going to get a lot neater. But that's not now. So as you can see, it's like a little bit looser there, a little bit tight here. It's got quite a lot of sponginess to it, so I quite like that. And again, it fits my fancy ideal that I'm going to have some sort of luxury cottage with wooden floors and everything in the future, as opposed to a 3-bed terrace that we've currently got. So you just move along doing that. And again, exactly same technique at the top as you had at the bottom with pairing them together and tying them in knots. Once you've done that, you can then rearrange them so that you've got the tension equally amongst it. And again, I really wouldn't at any stage worry too much because you're going to be walking on it and it's going to even itself out over the years. So really, the only thing that you should care about at this stage is just whether you've enjoyed it and whether it's been relaxing doing it after work. as you can see, you've got a lot of movement on it still. You've just kind of got to be careful that you don't overly pull the wool, because as I say, you don't want to snap it. So then once you've done that, you can start tying them together and you can get your tension done. And then what I'll do, I'll fiddle around doing that because that takes a few minutes, and once I've got that done, I'll put the video up with a photograph of the finished product. If you want to know more about the sorts of things I do, obviously subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Mini Smallholder, or come to my website, theminismallholder.com. But thanks for watching.